So good morning, everyone. We are going to cover chapter 7 today. It's DNA structure and gene function. It's a pretty heavy chapter in terms of content. If you didn't take maybe biology in high school, this might be your first time hearing about transcription and translation and DNA replication. So before I get started with this chapter, I want to know, what do you guys know about DNA structure? Double helix. It is double helix, and it gets passed on from your parents. So in the egg and the sperm, you find DNA, and it gets passed on. It stores the genetic information. So on this picture, you have the cell, and then there's the nucleus inside. Inside the nucleus, there's a structure that looks like letter X. This is a chromosome. And right here, you can see it's unwinding. So when the chromosome unwinds here and you zoom in, you're able to see the double helix and double strands of the DNA. And on this DNA, or on this chromosome, there are multiple genes that can be located. There can be a gene for your eye color. There can be a gene for your hair color, maybe. There can be a gene for your skin color or for your height. So there can be multiple genes that can be located on this chromosome. So chromosome is millions of base pairs. And I'll tell you what base pairs are. So the DNA stores genetic information, and you need that information to make proteins. And those proteins can be your muscle fiber. We talked about homeostasis before. So if you have high glucose level and you want to bring it back to the normal range, to homeostasis, you need insulin, and that insulin is made through these proteins, and those proteins are made through this genetic information that's in the DNA. If somebody has a mutation or they're missing the gene for it, they won't be able to make the insulin, and they can't lower their blood sugar level. So you have the information stored in DNA, the instructions, and that's how your body makes proteins. And DNA, we learned about nucleic acids before. DNA and RNA are type of nucleic acids, and these are held together through peptide bonds. So DNA stores the information that cell needs to produce protein. So egg has DNA, sperm has DNA. You get your genetic information from your parents, and that sometimes you resemble your parents. Maybe you have some features that your parents also have. So one example would be attached earlobe. Maybe one of your parents have attached earlobe. Now you have attached earlobe. So DNA is a double helix. And we learned before that Watson and Crick were responsible for finding the structure of DNA. So the story is Watson and Crick, they were working 60 or 70 years ago, they were working on to find the structure of DNA. And where they worked, down the hall, there was another lady named Rosalind Franklin. She did X-ray crystallography. So what she would do, she would take chemicals, crystallize them, shine X-rays through them, and generate a picture. So Watson and Crick went to her and they gave her a piece of DNA, and they said they wanted a picture of that. So she created an image, and that image looked like this. And Watson and Crick had no idea what it was. And she says, "Oh, that's double helix." And they say, "Okay, thank you very much." And then they go ahead and they publish their paper. And they didn't give her any credit for it. They mentioned her in the acknowledgement, saying, "Oh, a little bit of thank you to our colleague for letting us use the equipment," or something like that. So she didn't get any credit for it when she was the one who was able to tell that this is the double helix shape. So same year, she published another paper, but hers didn't get any recognition. So nowadays, when we talk about who found the structure of DNA, we mention Rosalind Franklin as well. So in some universities, they even have some scholarships under her name, or some type of grants under her name. So when I ask you on the exam, who is responsible for finding the structure of DNA, make sure you also mention Rosalind Franklin. So it's Watson and Crick and Rosalind Franklin. Watson and Crick got Nobel Prize for it, but she didn't get any recognition for it until now. So many scientists collaborated for the discovery of this structure. DNA is composed of nucleotides, and 3 parts of a nucleotide are a phosphate group, makes the backbone, and a pentose sugar, called a pentose sugar because it has 5 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so pentose sugar, and a nitrogenous base. The base can be any of these 4. There are 4 possible bases. It can be adenine, guanine, cytosine, or thymine. So it can be A, G, C, or T. So the basic composition of DNA is a phosphate group, sugar, and a base, which can be any of these 4. Here's another picture. You can see the P here, that's phosphate attached to the sugar. And then you see these dark lines in between. These are covalent bonds. So these are held together by covalent bonds. These covalent bonds we learned that they're strong bonds. Ionic bonds are also strong bonds. Hydrogen bonds are weak bonds. So on this picture, you can see there's the backbone, phosphate sugar backbone, and then attached to it is a base. There's a G, there's a C, there's a A. The way they link together, so there's one strand here, another strand here, and both of them have bases on them. The way these bases link together, A is always going to bind with T, and G is apples go in trees, so A to T, cars go in garages, so C to G. So on here, when you see C is linked with G here, another G with C, A, you will never see A linked with G or A linked with C. So it's always going to link with T, adenine is always going to link with thymine, and guanine is always going to link with cytosine. Does that make sense? Go ahead and turn on your cameras and give me thumbs up if that makes sense.
For me, yes.
Yes, okay. So that's the composition of DNA. So this becomes very important. I want you to remember that A binds with T and G binds with C. And I also want you to remember adenine stands for A and thymine stands for T, guanine stands for G, and cytosine stands for C. So you need to know the names of the bases. So these bases, you can see these dotted lines, they are linked together by hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds are weak bonds. That's what we learned. And the reason they are linked together with these weak bonds is because this information that's stored in the DNA needs to be copied. So these weak bonds are broken easily, and these strands open up, information can be copied, and then they close back up. So the hydrogen bonds are weak bonds, and they are the ones that are attaching these bases to each other. So hydrogen bonds connect complementary DNA strands. When we say the word complementary, it means G is gonna go with C and A is gonna go with T, or vice versa. So there's a question for you guys. What is the main function of DNA?